Do you ever find yourself struggling with fear, self-doubt, or constant rush for instant success? I believe at some point we all do. Sir, what does rebirth personally mean to you? I mean, not spiritually, but in real life.
So this rebirth is all about where exactly you need to bounce forward, following your passion and doing something which you actually crave for. So the rebirth is nothing but you are something which you are doing in addition to whatever you are doing, but in the process you are following a passion. So it gives you a lot of energy to you, and when that happens, for me that is a rebirth.
So, as you mentioned, it's been 3 decades in the corporate world. So, sir, after spending 3 decades in the corporate world, when did you finally decide that you really want to pen your story down?
I have really enjoyed my corporate life because I worked in different regions. I worked in almost all part of India, and I was quite successful in my corporate life as well. But somewhere I felt I was getting everything and I was winning everything, but I was not winning the self. So many intellectual people are crumbling under pressure because they are not able to handle the crushing weight of adversity. And when you see there are so many incidents which has happened across the world, I can name few examples like Cafe Coffee Day founder was twice was selected as the best entrepreneur of the year award, but for some reason he terminated his life.
That was actually very important. We all need to learn through somebody's experiences. We all face this thing in our life at one point or the other that we feel like giving up. So did that happen to you? Did that ever happen to you?
Yeah, definitely it has happened. When I was in the peak of my corporate career itself, this has happened to me. And it has happened to me in such a fashion that I told you I was getting everything from the corporate life. I got everything, huge salary, everything I was getting, but I was not in a position to win myself.
Do you ever find yourself struggling with fear, self-doubt, or constant rush for instant success? I believe at some point we all do. And if this feels familiar, this episode is just for you. Today we are joined by Anil Panicker, whose book Born to Rise, Reborn to Shine beautifully explores these themes. So let's begin without wasting any time.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to our show, Anilji.
Thank you so much.
So how have you been?
Yeah, everything is fine. How are you?
I'm good, sir. I'm good. So, sir, before we begin, it would be great if you could share some insight about your book with our audience.
Yeah. So my book is titled as Born to Rise, Reborn to Shine. And there is a logic behind that because that particular reborn to shine, which I have took it from the phoenix bird. Because when it faced the disaster in his life, when it's something which has happened to him, it has come out strongly. We call it as bouncing back. But in phoenix bird's case, it is actually a bouncing forward. So my book is all about this adversity quotient, which I feel is the need of the hour. Because many highly intellect people who are actually suffering due to lack of adversity. So I felt really bad because the team which I handled, many people across the world are not able to handle the crushing weight of adversity, which I feel is the need of the hour. Because you may be having high level of intelligent quotient, high level of emotional quotient, but what actually matters most is when the life jolts you, when you face the adversity, how to handle that is the need of the hour. So I did a lot of research on this adversity quotient, and almost close to 2.5 years to 3 years of research. Then I identified my 10 techniques which I feel would be useful to the world, would be useful to everyone. So that is actually the book, actually the culmination effect of my research on this adversity quotient. That is why my book is all about.
That was very thoughtful, Anilji, truly. So, sir, what does rebirth personally mean to you? I mean, not spiritually, but in real life.
Yeah, see, to me, rebirth is actually about a pivotal moment in life where the pain becomes the turning point and adversity becomes a teacher. So, I will tell you my example because after almost spending close to 3 decades of corporate life, I have decided to move to a motivational speaker, to an author, to an inspirational speaker, to a keynote speaker. This is actually a rebirth. Here I am not actually doing something which is I did in the past, but something which actually I was longing for. So I wanted to follow my passion. So this rebirth is all about where exactly you need to bounce forward, following your passion and doing something which you actually crave for. So the rebirth is nothing but you are something which you are doing in addition to whatever you are doing, but in the process you are following a passion. So it gives you a lot of energy to you, and when that happens, for me, that is a rebirth.
True, true, sir. So, as you mentioned, it's been 3 decades in the corporate world.
Yes.
So, sir, after spending 3 decades in the corporate world, when did you finally decide that you really want to pen your story down?
Yeah. So I have really enjoyed my corporate life because I worked in different regions. Like I worked in Asia Pacific, I worked in Middle East, I worked in almost all part of India, and I was quite successful in my corporate life as well because of international exposure, great future, great recognitions, promotions, everything. But somewhere I felt I was getting everything and I was winning everything, but I was not winning the self because the lot of transactions are happening. But if you ask me whether is there any transformations happening, my answer was no. So here I actually then went and little bit of investigated about the real why in me. The why is actually what is my purpose of life, what is my passion. So when I see this passion and purpose, I was not actually getting from the corporate boardrooms or corporate world where a lot of transactions are happening. And also, before writing this book, as I told you earlier, this was all about that adversity quotient because a lot of things I have experienced. So many intellectual people are crumbling under pressure because they are not able to handle the crushing weight of adversity. Even in my team, I have seen many people. And when you see there are so many incidents which has happened across the world, I can name few examples like Cafe Coffee Day founder KG Siddharth was twice was selected as the best entrepreneur of the year award, but for some reason he terminated his life. And there is one Ernst and Young executive. Her name is Anna Sebastian Perel. So Anna Sebastian Perel, she was an Ernst and Young executive. Because of some adversity issue, she decided to end her life. And there is one example which has happened is there is an IIT Chennai student, Fatima Latif. Because of some caste discrimination or some discussion which has happened at IIT campus, she decided to terminate her life. So all these things actually disturb me. So I was thinking, when all these people have got enough intellect, these people have reached certain level in their life, these people have high level of intelligent quotient, because somebody reaching to a position of IIT student is not an ordinary student. An Ernst and Young executive getting that position itself is something a remarkable journey. And when it comes to entrepreneur of the year award, Siddharth, but when all these things are happening, when everything is happening perfectly well for them, why they have to terminate their life? There comes the beautiful word, the adversity quotient. That means when all these things are happening, also they are not in a position to handle adversities. I found this subject very interesting. Then did a lot of research. So I thought doing research will not solve the problem. I thought to pen it into a book so that it will be useful for the world. So that is the whole purpose, how it started and how it ended. Thank you.
No, that was actually very important. We all need to learn through somebody's experiences. So, like you said, that the question is adversity. So we all face this thing in our life at one point or the other, that we feel like giving up. So, did that happen to you? Did that ever happen to you?
Yeah, definitely it has happened. When I was in the peak of my corporate career itself, this has happened to me. And it has happened to me in such a fashion that I told you I was getting everything from the corporate life. I got everything, huge salary, international exposures, everything I was getting. But I was not in a position to win myself. That has turned out to be an adversity for me, because when all these things are happening, when every good positive things are happening to me, somehow, somewhere, I was not feeling happy. As I told you, all transactions in life, not transformations. So this particular thing, I did a lot of research, and the biggest thing what I did is answering the biggest why. What is that which the world is looking from me? What is that which I need to be remembered for? So when I decided to explore this question, I got my answer. So that was a moment where, to some extent, I can say that I have conquered the adversity and moved from that corporate world to the training department as a trainer, as a motivational speaker, as a YouTuber, as an author, where I feel that is actually the true passion, because I feel I am getting a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, and a lot of joy, a lot of bliss when I train something, and when I see that happiness on their face, and I feel, yes, that is where I need to give it back to the society. So I conquered that adversity in that manner and converted that adversity into my advantage, so that I can give it back to give it back to the society, and in the process I can become happy.
We are glad that happened. So today's world is full of distractions, and people are all over the social media. You will see people achieving something or the other, and in that in that meantime, people somehow forget their goal. I mean, for instance, if I want to become a fashion designer and I see somebody becoming an influencer, if they are earning better than me, then I might change my goal. I might feel a little jealous. So how do you stay aligned with your goal?
See, this is the question which we need to have a real passion in life. What is the purpose of life which we need to define? Anyone's goal is purely defined to his, or purely attached to the passion. So first of all, we need to have a clarity in our life. To bring the clarity, the most important thing what is required is we need to be honest. We need to ask questions. When I say questions, it is not the questions of the world. It is the questions which I need to get answer. If somebody is very clear on their questions, someone rightly said, some person's intellect level is measured by the quality of questions he asked. So if he is honest to himself, and if he is asking the right questions, then he will get the answer for that. And when he gets the answer, he can align his passion with that answer. And when he is aligned with his passion, then he will know exactly, this is the purpose of my life. Once the purpose is defined, you can always get the goal for you. But the biggest problem what is happening is, we are not honest to ourselves. We always ask the questions of the world, where there is a lot of distractions are happening. Then we move away from the purpose, and when we move away from the purpose, I can tell you, your goal is also, you get, it's a very bleak chance you achieve your purpose and goal. I will just tell you my example. When I was thinking that, to some extent, I was getting little bit of subdued by the corporate life, and I was thinking what exactly I need to give it. How can I find out my passion? The two simple things what I did is, to find out your passion, you need to find out what are your strength areas. And I felt my strength area is, to some extent, I can be in a position to speak to people without much nervousness, and to some extent, what I'm saying is I can hide the nervousness. And second is I am too good in presenting some facts. So these two strength areas, what I did is I just built around my passion in these two strength areas, and then comes the training options. I felt okay, when I am too good in presenting and when I can hide the nervousness, these two, how can I build a passion or a purpose which is the right, this is which job will be apt for this, which is the trainer job or a motivational speaker job. So I just built around that. But the most important thing is, when I need to be a trainer, I need to acquire a lot of knowledge. That I took it as a later stage. Then I took my first goal as acquiring more knowledge. The next 3-4 years, I acquired a lot of knowledge. So with these two strengths, adding one more strength to you, the whole purpose and the passion I have defined. And once you have defined the passion, creating the goal for you, a short term and long term, which is quite easy.
So the answer to understanding what your true passion is, what your goal is, you always need to ask yourself some questions.
You need to be honest to yourself. Ask the questions which are relevant to you, not which are relevant to the world.
True. So, sir, you have mentioned about somewhere about 10 techniques in your book.
Yes.
So, in your book, you have mentioned around 10 transformation techniques in your book. What do you think people struggle with the most among them?
The most, I can say undoubtedly, there is a technique called beyond the blame. In other words, it is stay out of excuses. Because blaming someone is really comforting. To some extent, you are escaping from that particular moment. So the most important thing, people always used to find excuse is something you can always see. And they may find excuse with the systems, they may find excuse with the bosses, they may find excuse with their own past. So many systems, even with the Kundali, Jatakam, all those stuff, they find excuses. But one need to understand, saying excuses is only weakening you. It won't solve the purpose. It won't give you closer to your solutions or goals. To some extent, it is comforting. But the biggest problem is, whenever we are pointing fingers to others, we are diluting the system and we are weakening our system. So to answer your question, the most people opting out of my 10 techniques, which I feel is the most popular, is beyond blame or staying out of excuses.
So, sir, you have worked in different continents. What's that one truth you find to be universal?
Yeah, this is very pertinent question for today's world. Let me tell you, there are so many areas where I worked, so many places where I worked, so many companies. I handled a big corporate in a very major city, and also I handled a very low profile customer in a village also. But one thing which is common, whether it is an employee, whether it is a big contractor, whether it is any other corporate client, one thing which people are looking for is they want to get respected. They want to get recognized, they want to get respected. They want to get respected not for what they want, but for who they are. That people emotion, people's connect, which is anywhere you go in the world, across the planet, people want that respect. Without respect, which is a universal truth, and if you can have that respect with that person, I can tell you, you can conquer him, you can win him, and for a mutual benefit, you can do business with him, and that is going to help. It's a win-win situation for both. So the universal truth is, everybody wants to feel heard, everybody wants to feel respected. That emotion, it's common for all the individuals, and everyone is seeking for that.
So, it's basically like we all need to understand people and be understood.
It's that emotional awareness of the people which is very important, and that is what is actually the differentiator between legends and the ordinary people. Because let me tell you, the systems and the machines can do a lot of process. But end of the day, what we need to understand is the decision makers and the performance parameters are coming from humans. So here you need to understand the human, you need to have an empathy, you need to build that emotional intelligence, and you need to connect with the people with a lot of respect, because those people are going to deliver for you. So that respect matters a most.
So people today lack emotional intelligence or resilience, and I don't know if you've ever faced those things, but if you ever did, then how did how did you manage, or how did you became emotionally intelligent during juggling multiple tasks or being in high pressure roles?
So what we need to understand here is this resilience or the emotional intelligence is not something which we get it from a textbook. It is something which we need to build in trenches. We need to work hard for that. And this is a slow progress which is happening in everyone's life. And resilience is something which you need to understand. You need to understand the world as it is. First of all, okay, I am a person who is not going to fail in life. If that feeling comes to you, then some failure happens that is going to jolt you in a bigger way. But you have to see the life as it is. First of all, take that life as it is and see that yes, this life is a roller coaster ride. I will fall 9 times, 10 times a day. But what I need to do is, I may fall 9 times, but I will get up 10 times. When you have this mindset within you, then everything will become normal. Because tomorrow, if you fall also, you will have this, okay. You have to see the life, no problem. Life is a roller coaster ride, and life will have setbacks, life will have failures, but I have technique how to rise again. That people will not feel that jolt when it happens. But if somebody feels this life is such a beautiful thing and I am not going to fall, and when the failure or the fall happens to him, he will not be able to get up. So resilience is, how to build the resilience is accept the life as it is and be true to yourself and to life. This is the biggest technique how you can build resilience. Second is self-reflection. What is my capabilities? What am I supposed to do? Am I answering my why every time? Am I honest to myself? And the self-awareness and building knowledge, gaining knowledge, all these things are going to help your resilience. When it comes to emotional intelligence, just simple 2 steps: listen attentively, speak less. Your empathetic listen, if you listen to people, then your emotional intelligence is high. All the people whose emotional intelligence is low are invariably poor listeners, because they are not understanding others' problem. It may be your problem, it may be others' problem. You have to, how can you understand your problem? Listen to your inner self. And how can you understand the others to become empathetic to other people? Listen to others, speak less, probe, ask, empathetic listening. So resilience is accepting the life as it is and accepting that life is a roller coaster ride. You may fall, but I will get up 10 times. And emotional intelligence is nothing but empathetic listening. Listen more, talk less. These 2 techniques I build, I have cultivated in me, and I am very confidently I can say that I have built a very high resilience. I have built a high emotional intelligence, and that has really helped me in achieving whatever I have achieved. I can say that I attribute my success to these 2 key important personality traits.
All right. Even if I understand that my goal is different, so I've asked what my why is, and I understand that I want to do something else. But then I might not do it because what the society will say. That's a fear that people generally have. How to overcome that?
Very important question, but we need to understand that what the people will think about me is the biggest worry in this world, and that is a cage which is actually surrounding you. Very simple way to come out of that. You need to just understand your own decisions. People may walk the life, the whole life is just like a running race. If you consider, so many people may walk along with you. On your right, people will walk, on your left, on your front, back, but anyone can walk for you? No, you have to walk yourself. So when people say all these reasons or all those, when trying to tell you, and you want to somehow justify your stand, and somehow you feel that okay, what others will say, if this has come, then you will be in a shield, and when that shield happens, you will never progress, you will never grow. Down the line, after 20 years, you just think, in my life whatever has happened is because of the decision taken by me or because of the decision taken by someone else. Then you will get the answer. So when you know that everything is happening in your life is because of your choices, your decisions, then why are you worried about someone who is actually not in picture but trying to influence you because of your bad perceptions? You don't have to worry about that. It is your life. Live successfully, live peacefully. This is what I have to tell you.
Okay, sir. But then we all have some self-doubt in our lives. And I presume you have mentioned some method to deal with it. Can you explain it? Can you elaborate on it?
Yeah, this self-doubt is to some way related to the excuses. These are cousins. When you have more self-doubt, you tend to make more excuses. When you have more excuses, you tend to make more doubts also. So these are highly linked, and there's a big loop between them. How to do it is, I told you, first of all, you have to understand yourself. To some extent, these excuses or self-doubt is to some extent comforting for you, because to some extent, somehow you can manage that particular situation. But is it going to improve your life? Anyway, because of this, is it going to improve your life? So in my chapter of self-conditioning, I have really mentioned self-doubt can be handled very effectively. Only thing is through proper self-awareness. You need to have a self-talk with you. What is the purpose of life? Is someone can influence you? Your life, can somebody deal on your behalf? Is someone can run for you? Is it your life worth living? Is this life beautiful? Is there any people to support you? I can take the support from others, but I should not allow influence. I should not allow them to influence me. So this self-doubt, I have put it in my chapter, which is self-conditioning, which is very clear. Introspection, self-awareness, self-talk, all these things will definitely help to clear your self-doubt, which is very, very important, because when you are a person with maximum self-doubts, that is going to affect your productivity, because you tend to move into a blame game always. Never ever do that. Do the introspection properly. You have to see 2-3 angles. This life is given to me, and the life is with unlimited potential. I have a beautiful gadget in the form of brain. Everyone is given the same brain. Even I have also got the same brain. The brain is called a 3-pound universe, and the creator has given me that particular brain to me. I need to activate it. And when I have such a beautiful birth, when I have a human origin, when I have this birth with me, when people around me are helpful, why should I have the self-doubt? Why should I worry about myself? I should just go and deliver. Such a beautiful life is given to me, and I should never miss the opportunity. So here, absolutely, there is no question of arising an iota of self-doubt in any humans.
So, sir, from working in a corporate to becoming a motivational speaker, how was the journey like? How was the transition like?
Yeah, so the answer is same to me. Like, the corporate life is all about meetings, boardrooms, and transactions. To some extent, I felt somewhere the purpose of my life or my passion is not aligned to this properly. There is a concept called Swabhava and Swadharma. Swabhava is nothing but your personality, and Swadharma is the work which we do. So there should be a proper alignment between this Swabhava and Swadharma so that you won't get exhausted. When your Swabhava is not aligned to Swadharma, in all probability you get exhausted. And I felt at a later stage of my career, I felt that fatigueness in me, where I was not getting the real amount of energy. Of course, the corporate life was a high successful life for me. I was winning everything except myself, because somewhere I am getting frustrated, somewhere I am getting that my passion is getting faded, because the passion or the satisfaction or the happiness or the bliss which I am getting is when I train some people and when I see the happiness on their face, I get a lot of bliss, I get a lot of joy. But in the busy schedule of my corporate life, somehow my trainings got reduced, the number of trainings got reduced, the number of motivational talks which I used to do got reduced, and somewhere I felt in that the life of corporate life, somewhere my passion is getting faded away, which I don't want. So at the cost of corporate life, I have decided to come to this training life, which I feel is my passion, which I feel gives a lot of energy to me, which I feel is always blissful to me, and which I feel is the whole purpose, because I am giving back to society whatever I have earned or whatever I have learned. Because end of the day, what matters is how many people in your community, in your place, you can give it back and you can support. And I feel I am really privileged that I have been assigned this job, and I got this, I selected this as my passion, and I really love doing this.
So your journey is a beautiful example that anyone can, rewrite their story. So what will be your message to those who feel lost and haven't yet found their way?
See, I can tell you, you need to understand, losing hope is not the end of the journey. That is just a beginning. We rightly say there are something which some people will win and some people will learn. There is no word like fail. Had it been a word like fail, I can tell you none of the inventions would have been possible in this world. Because many people, if you see any scientist inventions, he failed 10 times, 20 times, 30 times. Thomas Alva Edison failed 999 times. But had he kept, no, I failed, now I should not continue, I cannot proceed, then there won't be the electric light today. Electric light today is his persistence, his actual that determination. Thomas Alva Edison's determination is the effect is light. So when somebody is feeling lost, first of all, that word itself is a wrong word. There is nothing like lost. He will have to take this as a beginning, and he will have to see this as an opportunity, because he was given another opportunity to bounce back. So those people, my message is, that's not the end of life, that's a beginning. In my word, I can tell you, born to rise again, because that's an opportunity which is given, and the world has proved that those people who lost once, and when they bounce back with a lot of revenge, they bounce back with a lot of energy. So there is a huge potential ahead of you to achieve. So never feel that lost in your mind. It is an opportunity for you to bounce back, but this time bounce back wisely.
Very true, sir. So if you had to share one line that could change people's life, what would that be?
The one line which I feel is the fear of failure. The fear of failure is bigger than the any other failures. If you have this fear of failure within you, you are gone. Never ever, this particular fear should never come to your mind. Even a small act, if you feel that is a very small act, and if you feel that is going to fail again, never ever settle. You just go and take, because once you take, your fear of failure is going to slow down. So always keep this in mind. The biggest threat for life is the feeling of fear of failure. Please remove that from your mind, because any action will dilute this fear of failure. Only thing is, any action, you need to act. Whether it can be wrong, it can be a bigger mistake, no problem. But that will remove your fear of failure, which is very much required for your progress. So my message to them is, remove the fear of failure with your actions.
Very well, sir. It was wonderful speaking to you, and I'm sure your book imparts great knowledge, and our audience would love to read it. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Born to Rise, Reborn to Shine isn't just a book, but it's a medium to understand what you truly are. So if you haven't read this book yet, purchase it now. We'll get back to you with another book, another journey. Till then, stay tuned with BFC Publications podcast.